Hello, and welcome back to the Tea and a Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about companies that fail to crack America.
Yeah.
Yeah, originally we were going to talk about companies that were British-owned.
Yeah.
And that you didn't think were British, you know.
I'm sorry, I just cracked myself up because I'm like, yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, we were. Yes, we were. But
No.
and apologies for my voice today because it's all allergy season and I'm all stuffed up and I'm all throated out.
Yeah. It's been a bad allergy season.
Bad allergy season, yeah, because I'm just going every 5 seconds. So apologies for that.
But yeah, it doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot of British-owned companies that you don't already know
Or
about
American,
anyway.
yeah, or American companies, you know, because it's like everything's owned by everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of like conglomerates out there that are multinational.
Well, we were hoping to find like a bunch of surprising, like, Britain owns, you know, I don't know, what's a popular American brand? Surprise, Britain owns Sony or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there was
Sony, I think, is actually Japanese,
well,
isn't it?
whatever, you know.
I don't know, but
That's
I mean,
the first thing that popped into my head. We were expecting to try, or we were hoping to try to find that kind of thing, but it just seems like Burberry, Jaguar, Land Rover, everything that you already kind of know, and you're not really that surprised.
Yeah,
so.
Mini and all that.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if Mini is owned by Britain anymore. I think it might be owned by German BMW or something. I'm not sure about that, so I'll have to research that
I don't know,
later on.
But yeah, you know, Britain is like America now, where we've just sold all of our companies to
it all
other
off.
countries.
but, you know, still trading on being authentically American.
Yeah, well, still trading on
and
being
authentically British.
Isn't it rich how Britain and America both like to consider ourselves like
yes,
the great powers of the world?
But
it's like,
powers.
What do we really own? What do we really produce?
What do we really do?
You know? Yeah.
We just sit around going,
sitting around counting our money.
Counting our money, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
this
is foreign companies. I mean, some of them are from the UK. A lot of them are.
Maybe you can try to just pick out the UK ones
if I can, yeah. And
because I think there's quite a lot on this list, aren't there?
I don't know actually.
Oh, I thought you said there was like 70 something.
70, no.
Oh.
No?
I
think
pulled
it's
that
about
number out
7.
of nowhere. 7? Oh, God.
I think it might be about 7.
Oh,
but anyway, I mean, we can talk. You like to hear us talk, don't you? Because that's what.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you?
That's why they tune in every week to hear us talk about things like this.
Mm-hmm.
And
just rattle our heads.
Rattling our heads, yeah. Because I mean, you were just talking about that earlier today. You know, about people rattling their heads.
Yeah.
And we're about to rattle our heads too, so yeah. And I mean, the first one on this list is Marks and Spencer.
That's very surprising.
Yeah. I mean, Marks and Spencer, that's been a UK staple since 1884.
It seems so British, too. I don't know, like,
Marks
I can't...
and Spencer.
Yeah.
I mean, it predominantly sells clothes, because, you know...
That's it? I thought it was, like, grocery store.
As well as home and food products, yeah. But then it's like food hall came up. You know, my gran used to go to Marks all the time. Marks, as they call it. Marks and Sparks was what they used to say.
Yeah.
And then they rebranded sometime in the mid-noughties to M&S.
When was it that they tried to come over
They came
here?
over here in 1988.
Okay.
And they acquired the U.S. male clothes retailer Brooks Brothers for $750 million.
I'm not sure I've ever even heard of them.
With department stores all across the U.S., the plan was to use Brooks Brothers as a platform to launch M&S stores in America. But the plan didn't work.
What happened? Does it say?
Its range of clothes was deemed old-fashioned and too formal, because, Marks and Spencer's, it's
Hashtag British.
Yeah. Old-fashioned and too formal. No, and you go into Marks and Spencer, and it was like that, you know, my grandma was like, oh, I'm going to find you something in Marks for your birthday. And I'd be like, oh, God. Because you go into Marks and they'd have these pullovers and they'd look like, I don't know, they'd look like something a professor would wear in 1959, you know?
Yeah.
It's like... the St. Michael range. And I mean, British listeners will know what I'm talking about.
You know what, though? There's
like these pullovers and like Noel Edmonds sweaters, like Christmas sweaters and stuff.
I really think
jackets with elbow patches.
I think they should give it another go because there's a market for that.
I mean,
my grandma used to have the hardest time finding clothes that she was like felt comfortable in. Clothes that she felt like looked appropriate for her, because you go in so many stores and it's very ageist, isn't it? Like you don't really think about it being a young-ish person, how the clothes they're not really for everybody, are they? They're not for a little 90-year-old woman. It's like, what is she, if she's in the mood to go shopping, like where is she going to shop?
Yeah, I can't remember if my gran used to like shop for clothes at Marks. Yeah, I think she used to get like bits and bobs there, but it was mostly food.
But it seems like there are more options in Britain now that I'm like thinking about it. It seems like there's more like conservative, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wasn't it Marks and Spencer's in Gibraltar? I mean, I think we've told this story.
You
went in Gibraltar.
I think we've told this story many times.
Many times. Well, it's due for a revisit now, this story. When she went into Marks and Spencer and I don't know why you just went in there alone.
I think
didn't
I just
you?
wanted to
me and my
see,
dad stayed outside.
Like, I don't know what I was looking for, but yeah.
Yeah, you went in there looking for something, and you said you heard these, like, American tourists laughing.
Yeah.
These group of women laughing, and, we're in the chocolate!
Well, there was a couple of men next to me, and, they were, like, hollering across the store, I guess, for their wives, and they're like, we're back here in the chocolate! It was like, the most...
In the chocolate!
The most screeching, like, American voices, and I just kind of slinked out of there, like, with my head.
Because there was a cruise ship in Gibraltar at that time. I mean, there's always a cruise ship in Gibraltar.
I was like, oh my god.
And so it was full of Americans, I guess, because there was this guy who came in and I can't remember what he said. He said something about like,
they must have a lot of dolphins here.
They must have a lot of dolphins around here and monkeys,
yeah.
He said something about the monkeys. And the keychains. Oh, that must be a thing here, monkeys. And it's like, Gibraltar. People come to look at the monkeys.
I don't know what the dolphins was, but
I guess there's dolphins out in the Gibraltar the Strait.
Yeah,
I think there's dolphins in there. But yes,
anyway.
back on topic here. Marks and Spencer.
Yeah.
Other brands like Banana Republic and Gap became the draw for men looking for modern casual clothes, and so they sold it.
Did they only sell men's clothes at that time?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, not at that time. Over here they did.
Oh, they were only doing men's
retail, yeah. Yeah, you see, women shop for clothes more often than men, I think, so...
Yeah.
I mean, there are women's clothes in Marks, but I think most of it was like, geared towards men, Marks and Spencer's pullovers.
There's not a whole lot of, like, men-only clothing stores, are there?
No, not really.
I don't
Burton's,
we'll
I
get
remember.
really off track again if we get into this
Burton's,
topic.
But I think that's gone now. Burton's is no longer a thing.
But I mean here in America,
in America, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Because
there was Burton's menswear, and then there was Evans ladies' wear.
Okay, yeah.
And they were always kind of like together, Burton's and Evans. But I think they're both defunct now, because I remember going to Burton's. I think I got my first suit at Burton's.
Oh, yeah.
So I got my first, because it was kind of like a tailored type thing, And, yeah, I think that's gone now. But, I mean, I don't think that ever came over to the States or anything. But the next company is Suzuki.
Yeah.
They started off...
What? Wait. This is a list of companies that failed here?
Yes. And it's funny because we were watching a YouTube video with someone about this.
Yeah. I mean, I think Suzuki's were kind of popular at a time. I mean, I guess failed means just that they're no longer here.
They're no longer here, yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean they came over and then they instantly were failed.
Yeah, they started in 1909 in Japan, And today they're still a huge global success.
Yeah.
And their cars sell particularly well in Hungary and Australia. And in 1985, the company expanded to the US and initially had success with its Samurai car. But the reputation was tarnished when Consumer Reports alleged the Samurai was susceptible to rolling over in tests, and very public lawsuit followed. The company had some success with later models and seemed to have weathered the economic crisis of 2007, but ultimately its limited product lineup and non-competitive pricing was blamed for poor sales. And by 2012, they announced they would stop selling cars in the US. And the company by then had filed for bankruptcy and was $346 million in debt.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, I mean, Suzuki, because we were watching a video.
Yeah.
And they bought a little Suzuki
Samurai,
and it was from, like, the mid-90s or something, and it was just, like, a little running-around car. Still stick shift or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I can see, like, I wouldn't like to drive one of those in the US.
Yeah, why?
Because it's tiny. It's like you could get freaking,
I mean, I like
all the
cars. So.
Yeah, I know. You used to drive a Beetle and everything.
Yeah.
Which also no longer go in the Beetle, so Volkswagen's still a thing, but, But, you're driving along the motorway and you've got those 20-ton semis.
Yeah.
They're coming along and you're just going to go, whoa, getting blown by their backdraft, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I can imagine people were just like, oh, well, that's going to roll over.
Well, it's a little square-shaped.
Little square-shaped, lightweight thing, Yeah. The next one on the list is W.H. Smith.
When were they
W.H.
here?
Smith, yeah.
I'm sure that they've always been an airport thing.
British retailers W.H. Smith specialises in selling books, stationery and newspapers and can be found in most UK towns and cities, railway stations and airports.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that they were an airport thing over here, too.
In 1985, they began operating shops in the US, predominantly in airports and hotels. The plan was for W.H. Smith to be the go-to place for shoppers in need of a book or magazine for their flight or stay at a hotel.
Ha!
But the company struggled to flourish in the US market and things went from bad to worse when the demand for tourism and travel diminished after the September 11th attacks.
Oh, gosh.
The company began to close unprofitable bookstores and newsstand reduced. By 2003, it was forced to sell up.
I mean, really, it's like, can you call that a failure? Because bookstores of every variety are not really lasting nowadays. I mean,
yeah.
I think Amazon started to close them all up.
I mean, because they did.
Amazon started out as just books.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think from the early days of its inception, it started putting physical bookstores out of business. Yeah. Out of business because you could just order up any book. You didn't have to.
You didn't have to go to the store and buy it,
Or maybe they didn't have it or whatever. It was just like you could just literally look for any book and Amazon had it and they'd send it right to your door, Because
over here, like news agents.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like convenience stores, isn't it? That would
we used to have a news agent like right by where I used to live, and it was just a little like
convenience store.
No, it was a little news. We called it a newsstand. It was an actual physical store. It was in a strip mall. I think it was just called news agents too, or something. It didn't. I don't think it didn't have like a name, but they sold like every newspaper from everywhere around the country and magazines and books.
Because to me, a news agent are, they sell every red top, which is in the UK. They sell every red top paper and all the papers, all the national papers and magazines and, crossword puzzles and stuff. And they also sell like cigarettes and chocolate and sweets and... Yeah, and
because
I think and other little knick-knack things,
Because think about going into a convenience store.
And they were always like a corner shop
or a gas station here. Like, there's not a really big newspaper or magazine section.
No, not anymore.
No,
everyone gets it on their phone now.
Not unless you go to one of the really big, like, truck stoppy type. Convenience stores, but just your little average neighborhood corner store doesn't really have like much of a newspaper or magazine selection in general. I mean, yours
I think somehow it's still surviving in Britain, like the corner shop, as they call it, But usually, I never go in there to buy a paper. I vaguely remember going to buy a paper for my dad sometimes, the Telegraph or the Guardian or whatever,
Yeah.
I mean, he'd get the Telegraph for the crossword. And, he'd go get me a paper,
Yeah.
But, these days I don't know how big it is because we never occasionally buy the Daily Mirror, which is a tabloid.
Yeah.
But we'd never buy the Sun or the Daily Star or anything like that,
Yeah.
Because it was just a load of bollocks.
But that's so funny because I just swore the first time I ever saw a W.H. Smith in Britain that I had seen it before.
I think I remember you saying,
I was like,
actually.
this looks so familiar. Like, I'm sure we have these, or we have had them at some point.
And I mean, they're up and down the country. They're a big chain, and I used to go in there and buy books. I bought all those Young Bond books from W.H. Smith.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that I've got on the shelf here. So got it. The next one on this list. Moving swiftly along, because we're just going on about W.H. Smith. But yeah, they went out of business in the year. They're gone. They're gone. And I think they're kind of struggling now in the UK too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, most bookstores
are,
unfortunately.
French company Carrefour is one of the largest supermarket chains in the world, successfully running over 12,000 stores across more than 30 countries in Europe, Asia, and Africa.
Never heard of this place.
I remember it's like a big supermarket. If you go on like the booze cruises to Calais, if you drive to Dover and get on a ferry or, whatever, and go to Calais, that would be the first port of call to buy the cheap booze. Carrefour, yeah. And they tentatively approached the US market, opening up one hypermarket in Philadelphia in 1988. I don't know why everyone was like the late 80s was like, oh yeah, we've got to get over there. And one in New Jersey in 1994, but closed both in 94. Why did they fail?
That wasn't much of a
wasn't
a try, was it?
Yeah, I mean, some of these places, they didn't really give it a chance. It's like you were saying about the seasons of the shows that they. Yeah. But I was like, they didn't give that a chance to do its thing.
Yeah. Do you guys ever start watching, or have you in the past? Not so much now with all the streaming services, but back in the day with when network TV was like the only option. Did you ever start watching like a new show, and you kind of were getting into it, and then just about a few episodes in, it's canceled, and it's just like, no, I want to know what happens,
Yeah, well, yeah, like what, Forever.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still going on about that show.
What was that other one that,
Flash Forward.
Flash Forward. Yeah, with
you were always about Flash Forward when you were like, the Flash Forward.
Yeah.
What's going on with Joseph Fiennes?
Joseph Fiennes, that's it. I was like, Ray Fiennes' brother. I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The reason Carrefour failed was a reluctance to embrace US cultural shopping habits. And it's a one-stop discount store where shoppers can pick up anything from fruit and shampoo to fridges and car supplies. But US consumers were not accustomed to these wildly different items being lumped together under one roof. And a lackluster marketing campaign.
I mean,
and existing well-established supermarkets such as Walmart or other reasons it failed,
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean...
But I mean, Walmart, when I was a kid, Walmart didn't have groceries.
When did Walmart start doing groceries?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if maybe it was
because Walmart was originally a hardware store, wasn't it? When Sam Walton started it up, it was like originally like, you got your nails and your wood and stuff from there. I don't
know. I mean, they had, in the town where I lived when I was little, they had clothes, and they had like convenience store type food stuff. So they had like bottles of soda and like Little Debbie snacks and Doritos. You know what I mean? They had that kind of stuff. But you could get clothes, you could get shoes, you could get toys. Automotive kind of stuff, like, and also like light bulbs and hardware.
I always imagined it as like a hardware store.
You know how when you walk into the store, there's like the groceries are on this side and then everything else is over here.
I mean, yeah.
Walmart used to just be everything else.
Everything else,
like, it just didn't have the grocery section.
Yeah.
It had all the other kind of stuff that it still has. It just didn't have the grocery section. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because
When did they get groceries? I don't know. Maybe they always had groceries, you know,
it was
depending
just like a
on
little
where
tiny,
you were, but my Walmart didn't, you know.
Yeah, because I can imagine, I mean, Walmart, it entered the British market by purchasing Asda in...
Did Asda change when Walmart purchased it? Like,
it started. Different? Yeah, it started to become different. Yeah, because I think Asda was originally like an orange color.
But I mean, did the contents change, or did it always
I think
have
it started.
Kind of stuff?
I think it was mostly just groceries.
Oh yeah.
And then when Walmart took it over, it started doing clothes and other bits and bobs, you know,
like houseware
stuff. And they've got like a Asda Living now. Which is like a separate store. Yeah. There was one in the town I'm in. It's just like it's separate to the actual main Asda store. It was out in the shopping park. Yeah. And that was just like
furniture and stuff.
Furniture and home stuff, yeah. But yeah, I mean, you know, I can imagine like Walmart being kind of like a, you know, like a hardware store and just, you know, just general thing. Because I imagine that's what Sam Walton was like, you know, when he started.
That's what he was like.
Yeah. I mean, someone, you know, it's like, I don't know when he died, but, you know, I imagine that's what he was like. He just started his hardware store and it just exploded. I don't know, I have this idea. It's probably not, you know, I can imagine him in his little trucker cap, you know, and he's just like that, you know. I
have zero idea what Sam Walton looks like.
What does he sound like? He sounds like a little old man, doesn't he? Sounds like he was born a little old man with a little cap.
I really
those caps, and he's just like that with his hardware store, you know. And then all of a sudden someone goes, oh, you know what, we're going to franchise these things and make them, you know, we're going to expand and we're going to make this the biggest company ever.
You're
and he's just
random.
like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. I just wanted to sell nails and wood.
Anyway, next.
Daewoo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you remember Daewoo?
Yeah.
Daewoo Motors was one of South Korea's best exports, successfully exporting to countries all over the world, where it won a loyal following by selling directly to customers rather than through car dealers.
Oh, interesting. I mean, you say, do I remember Daewoo? No, I do not. I recognize the name. I'm like,
Daewoo's still I think it used to be it still is a big car in the UK, yeah.
Really?
When the company expanded to the US, it tried the same approach, this time hiring college students to sell its line of economy cars. The plan didn't work, however.
What, like door to door? I mean,
I'm guessing. I imagine the college students was like, hey, do you want to buy this car from Daewoo? It's a Daewoo. Psst. And they were just like,
come here.
Psst, come here, I've got a car for you. It's like, you know, I can imagine, like, you know, yeah, he's like, I'm not buying a car from a college student. He can barely drive. The plan didn't work, however, and it resorted to selling via traditional dealerships. Sales did not pick up, with US drivers opting for other South Korean car makers such as Hyundai.
Hyundai, huh?
Hyundai. What do you call him? Hyundai.
Hyundai.
Hyundai,
we always said, but I think they do say Hyundai, yeah.
The Asian financial meltdown of 1998 further diminished the company's foothold in the US and elsewhere. The whole company was bought out by General Motors in 2002.
Well, there we go.
The
mystery of Daewoo solved.
Daewoo, and of course I can imagine it's a Daewoo. It's like, oh, Daewoo, eh?
Oh my god.
I can imagine, you know, people going, oh, I don't know.
Yes, we know your imaginings. Go ahead.
Sam Walton owned a Daewoo, okay?
Yes.
Tesco.
Yeah.
The last one on this list is Tesco.
I had forgotten about this.
Oh, had you forgotten about this
yeah.
now? Yeah. Well, Tesco is a UK multinational food retailer. It's the biggest one in the UK. Yeah. I think it's like the top thing. Mm-hmm. And it was doing a roaring trade in the 1990s, becoming Britain's biggest food retailer by 1995. And third largest in the world by the early 2000s. I'm guessing Walmart would have been the biggest by then. I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
With stores all across Europe and Asia. Keen to expand even further, Tesco entered the US market in 2007, opening its first Fresh and Easy store in Hemet, near Los Angeles.
Fresh and easy meaning what? Like,
I remember.
Sounds like they're trying to compete with Whole Foods.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Over 200 stores were then rolled out across California and Arizona and Nevada. Tesco put a total of $1.3 billion into this U.S. business.
God.
Its original plan was to have a chain of 1,000 stores on the West Coast and then to expand on the East Coast, but the gamble didn't work out, and it turned out to be the biggest ever British retail failure in the U.S.
Oh no! What happened?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. You better buckle up for this one.
Oh my God.
Many of the locations of the supermarkets tended to be in the working class areas that were enduring economic hardship, and shoppers didn't like the small-sized supermarkets.
Wait, what year was this again?
2007. You know, the late
2007?
The late 2000s, you know.
Oh, what? Oh, I thought it was much later than that.
No,
I thought it was sort of recent.
In 2013.
Okay.
Well.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
And they were in working class areas enduring economic hardships, and shoppers didn't like the small-sized supermarkets, the shrink-wrap packaging, or the self-checkout systems.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, in California, they definitely wouldn't like all the plastic that you guys use.
Yeah, because, I mean, we shrink-wrap everything.
Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah. In 2013, Tesco announced that it was pulling out of the US market, and that same year, Fresh and Easy filed for bankruptcy.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that they would have even done that in California. Like, did they do no market research whatsoever?
I mean, I remember when it started, yeah, because it started to kind of like be a thing. What did they roll out? They rolled out...
No, I vaguely remembered them talking about it. I thought
200 stores in California.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Fresh and Easy, is it going to be like Tesco? Are they going to be selling... And they were like, oh, this isn't going to be a British import store. We're not selling Marmite or anything like that. This is just going to be an American store for Americans and, you know, all the American products that you love. But it had the, like, British way of, you know, shrink wrapping all their produce. And...
You guys, if you've ever been to Britain and you go into a grocery store, like, literally all the produce is individually wrapped.
Like you get
plastic.
A cucumber and they're just like, oh.
It's wrapped in plastic. I mean, I guess
like you can take it home.
It's more sanitary that way.
You take it home, you take off the shrink wrap and you wash it, you know?
Yeah.
Or you don't even have to wash it, I guess, because it's shrink wrapped, you know?
Like if you want a tomato, it's difficult to find a single tomato. No, you have to buy a package of
6.
4 or 6 plastic wrapped tomatoes.
Yeah, no, because that's something that I'll probably, you know, when we finally go back to the UK, I'll be like, oh, God, I forgot they did this.
Everything is in apples, you know, everything is individually wrapped, or not individually, but like you have to buy them
like in a pack of 6 or a pack of 4 or something, yeah.
I mean, but like you said, some things are totally individually wrapped, like a cucumber just one on its own, just wrapped in plastic for absolutely no reason whatsoever. It's like, why all this plastic?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no.
I can't believe they would have gone to California and done that. It's like, of all places, you could have gotten away with that probably in the South or in the Midwest, you know?
Well, yeah.
Well, self-checkouts at that time, yeah. People have to get used to things like that. Now everybody's like, oh, thank God.
Chip and pin, contactless.
Well, no, now everybody's like, oh, thank God they've got self-checkouts. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, that's something I prefer to do.
But when they first came out, even I was like, why do I want to check myself out? Like, I'm not getting paid to do this, you know? Let me go to an employee this is their job.
I think even now, in some stores in the UK even, you can go in and you can scan the stuff yourself. And then you just go to, you know, and you can scan it as you're going, you know.
They have that in Walmart. Scan as you go.
Scan as you go, yeah. And then you just pay the total at the till, you know?
No, you just pay it in the...
Oh.
You can just pay it. You don't even have to do anything. You just literally leave with your basket full of stuff.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Yeah,
we just...
But I mean, I don't know how it works because it's like...
That's too extreme for me.
Well, because I mean, how it works, like, you know, how do they know you're not, you know?
They don't. I mean,
oh, well, I've got a bunch of stuff in here that I didn't scan, you know, and it's
because
just
I
like,
think you pay.
I only paid $4 for this, and I've got a whole month's worth of groceries here, you know.
You scan using the app.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you just pay. You know, you have your credit card information or
on
your
file.
debit card on file, and you just pay right then. But yeah, so what? What about your receipt? I don't know. No, I can't.
It gets emailed to you, I guess, you know.
I can't deal with that.
I can't deal with that anyway.
No. And sometimes it's just like, yeah, you see somebody just push their basket all the way through and they just go out the doors and you're just like, oh no. I remember my mom said that she saw a lady do that at Target.
I think Target has it,
around Christmas time. I don't. I'm not sure Target does have it.
Oh?
So it's just like, does Target have that
maybe
same thing?
Maybe this woman thought they did, yeah. Or she just, you have that self-checkout. I've already paid, thanks, you know. It's okay, I'll send you I'll Venmo you the money.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they do, but I'm not sure. But my mom definitely was just like, I just saw some lady walk out of the store with a basket full of stuff. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah,
no, I remember hearing that Tesco is going to come over here and thinking like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah,
they failed. Yeah, they didn't.
Because what grocery store in America is comparable to Tesco? None, really.
I mean, maybe H-E-B.
We don't really have any like national grocery chain. To me, Walmart is not a grocery store. I mean, it's just because of my age, I guess, but. I mean, it is. It technically is, but
I mean, in Britain, I mean, it's a small island. I mean, it's like, H-E-B's a statewide. I don't think they're out of Texas, are they?
No, I don't think. Oh, they have a few in North Mexico, I think.
Oh, well, there we go. That's multinational then, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, I don't think they go outside of Texas other than that, no. But yeah, I guess...
Because there's Kroger's,
there's
Tom
so
Thumb,
many.
Randall's might be a...
National?
Yeah, but I mean, it's known under different names.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Albertsons.
Tom Thumb. They're all the same thing.
United.
Oh, United Randall's too?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, that's just in Texas because there's a United up in the Panhandle, isn't there? There's United.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Oh. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know why.
I don't know what the company is.
Just rebranded all at Randall's or whatever.
Right, yeah. But they're all owned under the same. There's another one. Maybe, actually, I think Safeway. Safeway.
We used to have Safeways.
I think Safeway is under the same thing as Randall's and United and all of that now, too. I don't know what the company is that owns all of them. Anyway, this has become a grocery store
podcast, yes. And, yeah, I think that's it. I think
that was everything
on the list, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
All the companies that failed in America.
There's been things that have come over and not failed, though, and maybe we should probably look up a list and see.
Yes, and see that the
American companies that have failed.
I can think of one right now.
Which?
Wendy's.
I
mean, and that's fast food. Yeah.
Did it? Are you sure there's not still one like in London or something?
No, I think it came over and it didn't do so well, and then failed. And then they're trying to pop it up. I think they're trying to get Chick-fil-A over there.
I mean, it's just a burger joint, isn't it? It's like, how many do you need?
I mean, at the same time, Five Guys is big in the UK.
Yeah, it's very popular. Yeah. I think they expanded quite rapidly.
Rapidly, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be fair, their fries are pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, the burgers are okay, but...
I think you call them fries. Why are they fries and not chips at Five Guys?
Well, because they're only chips when they're fish, you see. We call it fish and chips, and then everything else is fries. It's like what you said, isn't it?
I said that.
Yeah, you said, we call it fish and chips. We call it fish and chips over here.
If it's something I said, then it must be right.
Of course. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to us just talk absolute nonsense.
Absolute nonsense for 30 straight minutes.
No, we do appreciate you. Let us know if there's any kind of topics specific that you want us to cover.
Let us know.
Yeah.
We need topics to cover.
Specific topics.
Specific topics.
That you would like for us to discuss. We always want to talk about the things that you guys want to hear. So, anyway, I think other than that, we appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate your support. Be sure to visit our Patreon.
Yes.
For extra content.
Some great deals over there.
follow us on social media. We are at TButty, TEABUTTY on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we'll talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.